Greetings and salutations, comrades. Hope this finds you well. So, I wanted to share this story about Maddesyn George, this Indigenous woman from this tribe in eastern part of Washington State. Washington State is also where I live, just so it happens. And she's being charged with potentially up to 17 years in jail for killing the white man that raped her. And again, this also happened on the reservation land that is a part of her tribe. And so there's just a lot of really disgusting layers to the story. Obviously, it reeks of racism, white supremacy, settler colonialism, and just has all these disgusting layers to it. So so this happened on the Colville Confederated Tribes of the on the Colville Reservation. Here we go. Oops. Last updated November 1st. There's Maddesyn. Maddesyn George, a 27-year-old Native mother, a member of the Colville Confederated Tribes, and a survivor of domestic and sexual violence. She has been jailed since July 2020 for defending herself against a white man who raped and threatened her. She is facing as many as 17 years in a federal prison in California, more than 1,000 miles from her 19-month-old daughter and community. In July 2020, Maddesyn George was raped by a white man named Christopher Graber, whom she had previously considered a friend. The rape took place at Graber's home in Omak, Washington. This is in the eastern part of the state. Maddesyn fled as soon as she fell asleep. He fell asleep, taking the gun he had brandished, loaded in front of her, and waved around during the assault. She also took some of his money and drugs. The following day, Graber came looking for Maddesyn on the reservation. He found her sitting in the passenger seat of a parked car outside a friend's house. The gun was visible on the floorboard of the car. Graber demanded that Maddesyn hand over the gun, money, and drugs. And when she refused, he grew irate and grabbed her. Terrified, Maddesyn picked up the gun and fired a single shot. Graber died instantly. Eyewitnesses confirmed her account of the shooting and attested that they believed her life was in danger again, as it had been, previously when this man, threatened her with a gun and then raped her, right? Jesus fucking Christ. What about fucking stand your ground? I guess that only, happens, if the person using it is, right. Maddesyn was detained by tribal police and without an attorney present gave a detailed unequivocal account of the rape and the events leading to the shooting. Instead of receiving support after suffering two traumatic events in the span of 24 hours, Maddesyn was jailed. She was never given access to a rape kit. She has been incarcerated and denied bail since July 2020. Maddesyn's only contact with her daughter, who is 4 months old at the time of arrest, has been through a video screen. In-person visits remain prohibited because of the COVID-19 pandemic. Because the shooting occurred on a reservation, Maddesyn is being prosecuted by the U.S. federal government. After being incarcerated for more than a year, facing multiple charges and fearing the unknowns of a jury trial, Maddesyn accepted a deal from the prosecution. Prosecutors included pleading guilty to voluntary manslaughter and charge of drug possession with intent to distribute. Now they're recommending punishment that significantly exceeds the sentencing guidelines for these charges, prison term of 17 years and a lifetime state supervision. Maddesyn's sentencing hearing is set for November 17th, so coming up. Oh shit, go back. Maddesyn's case inspired broad-based grassroots campaign of Indigenous anti-violence organizers to fight for freedom. Nearly 8,000 individuals from 50 states and 47 countries, as well as close to 80 social justice orgs from the U.S. and Canada, have endorsed a call for the charges to be dropped. I'll leave this petition down below before Maddesyn's sentencing hearing begins. In response, prosecutors have doubled down in discrediting and minimizing Maddesyn's account of rape, using her criminal record and the fact that she took drugs and money from her attacker to deny her victimization claims. At the same time, they have willfully ignored the deceased criminal record of violence against multiple women. As Maddesyn's attorney recently told The Intercept, quote, "What the prosecutor is telling the story of robbery by a drug-addicted Native woman, playing into stereotypes about substance use and Native people to undermine her claim of self-defense. Members of missing and murdered Indigenous women, Washington point to the prosecution as part of a colonial legacy of gendered violence against Indigenous women. According to the National Institute of Justice, 2016, more than 4 in 5 American Indian and Alaska Native people have experienced some form of violence and more than half of American Indian, Alaska Native women experience sexual violence. For these survivors, criminal legal systems more often neglect or exacerbate harm rather than provide support and reparation, for sure. Washington State recently passed legislation to increase reporting and investigation cases of missing and murdered Indigenous women. However, much more is needed to end violence against Indigenous women, including support for survivors like Maddesyn. For acting in self-preservation, Maddesyn is being punished. She's become one of many survivors from colonized, racialized, and otherwise marginalized communities that have been ensnared by the abuse to prison pipeline. It's not too late for United States Attorney Office for the Eastern District of Washington to reverse course. Maddesyn should be united with her daughter and community and provided with resources for recovery and healing. I mean, Jesus Christ, dude. Pretty fucked up, right? And I just think of the juxtaposition between this case and the Kyle Rittenhouse case that, fascist white supremacists who murdered in cold blood those two anti-fascists who were protesting against the police shooting Jacob Blake in the back in Kenosha, Wisconsin, and shooting another one. The kid gloves treatment he's being given by the U.S. and justice system compared to how Maddesyn George is being treated, this Indigenous woman, the survivor of domestic violence and sexual assault, how she is being treated with so much contempt, and they're throwing the book at her basically. And again, it just speaks to the racist, white supremacist, settler colonial nature of the United States, and how those currents are very, very much with us still. So not surprising that this is happening, but still very, very deeply disgusting on all levels, right? So I'm going to leave the petition down below for the charges to be dropped, against Maddesyn George, as they obviously should be, because this is just a huge injustice and fucked up on so many levels, right? Quick shout out to the two Uber comrades supporting my channel, this content Patreon, my partner, and Independent Left News. Definitely check out Independent Left News. They're a great resource. Peace, much love.